Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
All right. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Sam Bushman live on your radio. Hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. No doubt. Continues now. There's so much going on in the news, it's hard to know where to start here, ladies and gentlemen. But there's good news things happening. There's bad news things happening. It's all over the place, folks. But I got some interesting tidbits that I want to share with you. Last hour, interestingly enough, we had on Sheriff Mack, CSPOA.org, become a member of the posse today. We talked about the almanac, Farmer's Almanac, predicting incredibly cold, long, snowy winter. We also talked about the Major League Baseball strike that took place at this day in history, 1994. It was disaster. The strike significantly damaged the sport, its fan base, TV ratings, attendance at the games. I mean, it just goes on and on. President Trump announced that his administration is considering reclassifying marijuana from a Class 1 to a Class 3. It'll, change the game. 45 states have already legalized marijuana for either what they call recreational or medical use. And every state right now has kind of a patchwork of how they deal with that. I'm just telling you right now that I think it's a problem. It's a problem because I don't know why the general government's involved in it at all. I mean, if you can literally say each state can decide on the murdering of children, abortion, that's elective abortion, then they could certainly deal with marijuana laws, right? But every law seems to be a federal law. It's strange. Now, Charlie Kirk speaks out and says the Democrats are terrified of fair elections. I think he's right about that. But I also think the Republicans are, too. And they won't admit it, but they have the same kind of problem as the Democrats. See, partisan politics is the problem. It becomes more about the party than it does about principle. More about the party than it is about, voting for an individual. And the problem is when the parties take over like that, it's disaster. We also talked about this former Suffolk County Sheriff Stephen Tompkins. The charges could lead to 20 years in prison. Anyway, it's a big kind of a battle discussion. But I bring it up with Sheriff Richard Mack because it's really important to understand. You can literally commit murder and get off way faster than they're trying to let this guy off. Now, is what he did good? No, I'm not saying that. It's bad. It's horrible. I'm not defending the sheriff. I'm just saying put this guy into prison for 20 years and then 3 years supervision and then $250,000 fine. And wow, you can do a lot of things and not even get that kind of a crime, rap sheet. You can say, well, hey, this was a sheriff. He should have known better. I agree with all that. But if we didn't have these psychotic marijuana laws on the books in the first place, then there wouldn't be this cannabis company. There wouldn't be this weird deal in stock and all this other stuff. It all wouldn't have gone down. Very interesting. Now, Donald Trump announced the deployment of 800 National Guard troops to D.C. The Trump administration is relying on a provision of the Home Rule Act. I guess it was back in 1973. That gives the president the ability to do this, take over D.C. He can do it for 2 days, then notify Congress, and he can do it for 30 days. Then after that, we'll have to see. The law gives the president power to do this. Even the police union chair, Greg Pemberton, said good for you. Judge Denise Pirro said good for Trump. Anyway, there you have it. We also asked if the Jeffrey Epstein case was dead. There's an article about it in townhall.com by Matt Vesta, basically asking that question. It's a fair, good, honest question. And, Richard Mack says it's not dead, that it'll come back with a vengeance. And I think if they don't do something significant about it, that's true. And even if it doesn't come back, even if Donald Trump and team and company successfully squash it, say it's a non-issue, there's nothing here, the blowback is tremendous. The CIA documents this blowback principle. The CIA talks about it with other nations, saying, hey, you get involved in their affairs, violate their sovereignty, put your nose where it doesn't belong. I mean, there's many ways to say that. And eventually there'll be blowback. There'll be hatred. There'll be anger. There'll be, a price to pay. And I think that's true with Trump on this, too. You bury this thing, Trump and Cash and Bondi. You do this and you might get away with it. It might go out of the news. It might go out of, But I'm telling you, it will continually add another log on the fire of mistrust in government. I can promise you that. All right, I got a cybersecurity tip for you. Are you sure you want to send that email? That's the question mark associated with it here. And so Jay Hill over at networkprovidersinc.com has a cybersecurity tip for you. The email says this: Sam, never forget that email constitutes a, quote, legal record and can be admissible in legal actions, not only in the courtroom, but also in the court of public opinion. People sue for all kinds of silly reasons, right? People sue for all kinds of reasons, folks. Family members get into disputes. Couples get divorced. Consumers sue merchants. And vendors can pursue what they call delinquent clients. Whenever a lawyer is looking for damaging evidence, one of the first things they'll ask for is email records. And deleting them does not save you because they can oftentimes be recovered, unless you're Hillary Clinton, of course. Then you use bleach bit and hammers, and, well, then you can't recover them. But there you go. Email's also not private, ladies and gentlemen. Employers have the right to monitor employees' work email. And if you email it to a friend, beware. You have no legal right to prevent them from posting it and or forwarding it to other people. So before you hit send, take a minute to make absolutely certain that your email doesn't contain something that you don't want public. Pretend your parent, your boss, your religious leaders, your spouse are copied in on every email that you write, right? And then pretend your worst enemy's reading it, and then decide if you want to hit send. Anyway, great tip from Network Providers, Inc. And I brought this to your attention just because we need to start thinking more about the digital world and how it affects all of us, right? Anyway, I found that kind of an interesting tidbit to bring up for people really to think about. How often do you deal with that? All right, there's an interesting topic that I did a video on, so I want to just kind of tease it, and then the video is going to come out pretty quick. Get your fat A over to Cracker Barrel, says the headline. Actress urges ban on Trump voters from Mexican, Chinese, and Indian restaurants. She says white people who triple Trump should be boycotted, should be banned from enjoying the best things that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Joe Kovacs over at WND.com writes this piece. And on August the 11th, 2025, actress Jennifer Welch, speaking on her podcast, quote, I've Had It, advocated for banning white supporters of Donald Trump from eating at Mexican, Chinese, and Indian restaurants. Welch criticized these supporters for their stance on border policies, while at the same time choosing to dine at ethnic eateries. She expressed particular disdain for those who support Trump's perspectives on, for example, illegal immigration, diversity, and LGBT rights, using the term triple Trump to describe these people. So, illegal immigration, diversity, and the support for gay and lesbian agendas, right? If you're any of those, you're triple Trump. Welch's comments have sparked reactions across the blogosphere, many saying her statements are more than extreme. I couldn't agree with that more. Her comments are absolutely extreme. But my question for her would be this. How, let me just understand, how are you going to determine that these people are white triple Trump supporters? Because as far as I understand, this lady that did this whatever actress, whoever she is, this podcaster, I've had it. She's white from what I understand. So if she rolls in as a whacked out liberal that hates Donald at every turn, she's got, Trump syndrome, hate Trump syndrome. How are you going to know if it's someone like her that's a liberal that's okay to eat at these restaurants and somebody that's a whacked out Trumper kind of a person? How are you going to enforce anything like that? I know she's just on a rant. It's a swearing lace-filled rant, dropping F-bombs and everything else in her rant. I invited her to lunch in my video. I want to talk about that in a second. You're listening to Liberty Roundtable Live.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
Dad, can you make him stop?
Honey, he needs to practice.
He's been at it an hour.
Well, just try to be patient.
Dad, it sounds like a cat calling for help or something.
Worse, a basement full of cats.
Yeah.
You know, hon, it is a little hard on the ears.
Not you, too.
Well, maybe we can all play a game. Andrew, do you want to play a board game? How about we watch a video? Hide and seek? Oh, I don't know, I give up.
Maybe we could all just sneak out of the house.
Honey, he's 9 years old. We can't leave him home alone.
We could make him practice with a sock.
Well, I guess we'll have to get some ice cream.
Did I hear someone say ice cream?
Family. Isn't it about time?
Oh, I see the practice hasn't hurt your ears.
Well, I'm a serious musician.
Funny that you never seem to get better on that thing.
Works every time.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hey, where'd all these cats come from?
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen, talking about this Jennifer Welch, actress, speaking out. I don't know how she's going to know who white people who triple Trump are. And so anyway, long story short, I kind of mentioned that her rant is filled with swearing, and she's dropping F-bombs, and she's really angry. She says, I've had it. And she's really attacking, quote, triple Trumpers. Those are the ones that don't want, diversity, supposedly, illegal immigration, these kind of topics. And she's like, hey, you want to get rid of these illegals, but you want to go to a Mexican restaurant, for instance. How dare you? How dare you, she says. And I respond and say, number one, here's how I dare. I love Mexican food. I'm fine with the Mexican people. They're children of God just as I am and should be treated such. There's plenty of American citizen-owned Mexican, Chinese, and Indian restaurants, ma'am, just so you know. And I support them. And if they have illegal workers working at those restaurants, if they're criminals, they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Justice, baby. I'm talking Guantanamo Bay, ported to foreign nations, alligator Alcatraz, the whole bit for hardened criminals. But I also support this, and I wrote a plan for this too, so don't just think I'm babbling at the mouth. I've literally put together a solutions plan. I wish I could sit down to with Tom Holman in the White House and everything else and discuss my plan, but alas, I'm just, a nobody, I guess. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is because, hey, if there are illegals that are good, honest people that are just trying to make a living, that own restaurants or are running restaurants or whatever in America, or they work at a restaurant or whatever else, let's find a way to use a mercy plan and bring those people forward. If I'm a boss and I say, listen, I'm going to just use a Mexican name. I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just saying Javier works for me. I own a Mexican restaurant. Javier's illegal. I didn't really realize it, but now I ask him and he's illegal. Why can't I then put up a petition to say, look, Javier has a clean record. He's paid for kind of a dossier background check on himself. We can look at this thing and see that he's a good, honest person that just wants a better life. He came here illegally, whatever reasons. We don't want amnesty. But can I, as a business, sponsor him? Make sure he's not on the dole. Make sure that he's got a job. Make sure that, hey, his opportunities in America allow him to prosper and not depend upon others. There's got to be a way forward for these people. And so anyway, the bottom line is, when actress Jennifer Welch went off, then I did a video about this. It'll be out in a day or two. And this video basically explains this. We need a call for civility. The triple Trumpers, you can have a fight with them if you want to. But let's not use the illegals or this discussion as a bargaining chip. Let's not go crazy. So I invited Jennifer to lunch. And I'm like, let's talk about this. Maybe we can discuss it and you can learn something. I can learn something, It'd be pretty cool, right? Hey, what do you think? What do you think if I do that? Take her out to lunch, discuss it. She might learn something. I might learn something. I think it'll be better for everybody, right? We just need to sit down and talk about it. We need to sit down and realize that people are human. And I think we ought to even sit down with some of these illegals and say, hey, illegal 1, 2, 3, different statuses, circumstances, whatever, all walks of life. What are you here for? Why are you here? Are you willing to self-deport? What are your fears? And I think we can talk through these things in meaningful ways. In fact, we're involved in a project called Ask an Immigrant, because many of these immigrants literally care for America, right? We can ask an immigrant. Many of the immigrants understand what's wrong with America more than the Americans do, right? Because oftentimes we take America for granted, and we shouldn't, but we do, right? I'm just kind of thinking that there's a way forward, and the way forward is to discuss, to talk about, to think about what's the illegals' concerns. Are they really concerned going back to their foreign country or their country of origin because they need asylum here because it's not safe? Did they come for a better life? Do they have a criminal record? I think it's really important to talk about this and to think about it. Well, anyway, at lovingliberty.net, that's the radio network that I syndicate my radio program through and that I run, I look at this and I go, Ask an Immigrant is probably the best way to really focus on this, right? I think there's a way forward here. But I think it takes people to seriously kind of consider the repercussions. But anyway, there's an Ask an Immigrant podcast that is on the Loving Liberty Radio Network. And you listen to some of these immigrants, and man, many of them are incredibly patriotic. This is what I'd like to really talk to Jennifer about. Now, I'm not a triple Trumper because I'm not a 100% Trump supporter. When Trump does right, I support him. When he does wrong, I explain why it's wrong and why I disagree. My opinions, my viewpoints, to the best of my ability, are based on principle, not on people. They're based on principalities, not on politics, right? And so I want to discuss with this Jennifer lady, Jennifer Welch, and say, listen, there's got to be a way forward. I'd like to discuss my justice and mercy immigration plan with you. I'd like to discuss this idea, and, maybe we can go to a Chinese restaurant. Maybe we can go to a Mexican restaurant or an Indian restaurant and discuss these things. Now, she's like, get your fat derriere over to Cracker Barrel. Well, just so you know, Cracker Barrel is an all-American restaurant in many ways. And Cracker Barrel, I don't know if you know, but they're going through some renovations. They're supposed to have a change in their store and decor and all this kind of stuff. And what's interesting about it is a lot of the Southern folks that have, gone to Cracker Barrels for generations now are critical of it, going, hey, we don't like this new look and feel of the stores. It's not as old-fashioned as it used to be. They're trying to get a more modern look to stay relevant. I don't blame them. Anyway, but at the same time, I don't know how you boycott these people. I mean, you just look at someone and go, you're a triple Trumper? Well, she's a white girl. How do you know she's not a triple Trumper? Anyway, I think there's a way forward. But I think one of the real keys, I'd like to tell her about the Ask an Immigrant broadcast. And I'd like to ask her, I'd really like to ask her this question. Do you know immigrants that you're speaking on behalf of? Because if you do, I'd like to put on the Ask an Immigrant podcast. Okay, it's not just for conservatives, right? It's not just for conservatives. Ask an Immigrant says, why are you here? What brought you to America? What's your story? What's your history? What's your culture? And it's a big learning exercise. It's a great opportunity. So anyway, Liz, do you think that Jennifer's going to take me up on take her out to lunch offer? I'm buying lunch. You doubt it? She's not going to go with me? I'm just saying if we sit down and talk, I think it would make a world of difference. And I could listen and learn from her. I'm not there to argue politics. I'm not there to argue opinions. I'm just kind of saying, hey, I want to go to a Mexican or a Chinese or a Indian restaurant, but I want it to be ran by law-abiding people. Is that so bad? Is that so wrong? And if there's illegals working at a restaurant, rather than just go crazy and deport them, I'd like to learn their stories, why they're here, what they're doing, and there's got to be a way forward that has mercy attached to it. And Jennifer, here's my question for you. Jennifer, do you think that if you and I were to talk about this and make a big deal out of it and have a big discussion about it and everything else, do you think it might bring forward a plan for a gentler discussion regarding immigration? For an appropriate discussion about how to create a justice/mercy plan for immigration? Do you think our efforts might pay off and give us some news coverage? Two completely opposing characters. I'm a very staunch conservative. I'm not a Trump guy, but, I'm not against Trump. But could we bring together the liberals and the conservatives and have an honest, open, fair discussion about this? That's all I'm asking for, right? All right. Did you hear President Trump nominated Heritage Foundation chief economist? I never understood how these guys go by their names. It's E.J. Antoni. I don't know when people use like that. Is it E.J.? E.J. Antoni. Anyway, this guy's going to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, vowing he will ensure, quote, honest and accurate economic data after firing Biden's appointee, Erica McIntyre, earlier this month. So Erica gone because, hey, Trump says she didn't report the truth. I don't know if she did or not. I don't know the details. I just have to trust Trump at this point and say he's telling the truth. But I know this, putting a Heritage Foundation person there's a likelihood that we're going to get more accurate reporting. I support that. I support that completely. Anyway, do you support that, folks? Honest accountability in reporting? I think that the government's been manipulating the reporting of data for decades. Whether it comes to labor, all kinds of statistics I think they've been meddling with, tampering with. Jobs reports. I mean, Obama had to admit they were overstating jobs reports big time for the longest time. They got caught at it and were forced to admit the truth. That's part of what Trump points to when he lets this lady go and say, hey, we're going to have honesty in this reporting position. I agree with him 100%. All right, hang tight. I've got more. I'm Sam Bushman. You're listening to the one and only Liberty RoundTable Live radio talk show. Hard-hitting talk always at your fingertips. LovingLiberty.net. Check out Ask an Immigrant and Liberty RoundTable Live.
Your daily Liberty News Wire. You're listening to Liberty News Radio.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street is liking this. Consumer prices rose less than expected last month. rising 2.7% compared to a year ago. It's easing fears over the potential impact of President Trump's tariffs. The president vowing to make D.C. safe again.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor.
Mr. Trump calling out the National Guard. He's also federalizing the D.C. police force. City officials object. They claim that violent crime has declined significantly in the district over the past few years. Protesters turned out not far from where they were marching and shouting in the street. There was another fatal shooting. Suspect in custody following a shooting outside a Target store in Austin, Texas.
We have 3 people that are deceased. This is a very sad day for Austin. It's a very sad day for us all.
Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis, heard there on KVUE TV, says the suspect is a 32-year-old male with a mental health history. President Trump describing his upcoming summit with Russia's Vladimir Putin as a feel-out meeting.
When he sits down with Putin on Friday, the president predicts he'll know the outcome right away.
Probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
And he says the meeting in Alaska could go one of 2 ways.
I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal.
The president says both Russia and Ukraine will have to give up land in order to end the war. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And Wall Street is well pleased with today's report on consumer prices. The Dow is up 460 points, a gain of just over 1%. The Nasdaq ahead 149, and the S&P is up 46 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Cybercrime is exploding. Take Sarah from Sweet Delights, whose world crumbled after having to close with not being able to bounce back. Small businesses are prime targets, but the right strategies can keep yours safe. Jay Hill, CEO of Network Providers, has co-authored The Cyber Playbook Simplifies Cybersecurity for Business Owners with Strategies to avoid costly breaches and fines. Build a strong cyber attack response. Secure your business with key protections. Cyber threats aren't slowing down, but you can stay ahead. Protect your business. Ensure its security for tomorrow. Get the Cyber Playbook today at networkprovidersinc.com/cyber-playbook or call 385-446-5500 now.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
Bypass the mainstream narrative with Liberty News Radio at libertynewsradio.com. Engage with charismatic hosts live or on demand. We cover the crucial news focused on God, family, and country. News that other networks simply refuse to use. Think of LNR's hard-hitting news and podcasts at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join us at libertynewsradio.com. Empower your day with the truth, because the truth will set you free. libertynewsradio.com. Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Vice President JD Vance is in the news, and he announced that a number of people should face indictments for what he called, quote, aggressive violations of the law per the Trump-Russia investigation, adding that Americans deserve accountability for what he described as a, listen, coordinated effort to defraud the public. Amen. So, JD, I appreciate it, but you got to quit just talking about it, buddy. What you got to do is deliver. How long has this Russiagate scandal been going on? For like 8-9 years now? Yeah, come on now. I get that we need due process for people, and I support that. But I also support what JD Vance and all these other guys are trying to do, is this idea that, hey, let's wait closer to the elections and then use it against the other guys. No, quit making it political. Quit using it for your, partisan politics and political advantage. Prosecute and get it done. Quit talking about it. So I appreciate that JD Vance went on, Maria Bartiromo's program on Sunday. But I'm wondering, why go on these mainstream press people's programs in the first place, JD? Why not support the new media taking center stage and dismiss these other people? Well, Sam, she's on Fox. She's okay. Anyway, I agree that the release of these documents by Director of Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard shed light on the attack on Trump. I agree with that. It's a problem. But I'm also sick of just talking. If it's really that criminal, get her done, prosecute, transparent, get her done right away. All right, Trump is just, in my opinion, he's got to stop this. Trump does a lot of wonderful things, people. He really, really, really does. And I support some of the wonderful things that he does. At the same time, he's guilty of, I'm going to call them clown moves, because it just makes the office of the president look terrible. Okay? It's like if I was the president and I just rolled out in shorts and flip-flops and my hair's all a mess and, I just look unkempt. You can't, come on now. Well, anyway, Trump calls on Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to take a, quote, cognitive exam. He says she's only slightly dumber than AOC. Jack Davis over at Western Journal writes the piece. Each of these political hacks should be forced to take a cognitive exam, much like the one that I recently took. And then he goes on, at our great Washington, D.C. military hospital, he wrote, etc. Now, I just have a problem with this. She says, he finishes by saying radical left lunatics would all fail this test in a spectacular show of stupidity and incompetence. Take the test, he wrote. But man, Trump, remember that you represent all citizens, my friend. Anyway, Trump War Room is where I guess the evidence of this rant by Trump is. So check that out. But I look at this and I go, you know what? You represented all citizens here, Trump, even the ones that didn't elect you, even the ones that aren't, Trump supporters, so to speak. You still represent them in the nation. And I get during election time how you're going to, sling mud. I'm not supportive of that. I'm just understanding of that. But after you become president, it's time to be above partisan politics. I know they're slinging mud at you. I know they're making statements that are dishonest and unfair and bordering on, slander and libel, in my humble opinion, to which I'm entitled. I get it. But you could be presidential and be above all that. Pay attention to your wife, Melania. She's got this Be Best campaign where it's like, let's not bully. When you tell a woman that she's dumb, take a cognitive exam. You're only slightly dumber than AOC. Radical left lunatics would all fail this test in a spectacular show of stupidity and incompetence. Okay, it's got to stop, in my opinion. We don't have any place for this, for the president of the United States to be stooping to that level. We really don't. So I'd like to sit down with AOC. I'd like to sit down with Miss Crockett. I'd like to sit down with this Jennifer, whatever her name is, this actress. Right? I would like to have answers. I would like to meet with these people and discuss it. Whether it's Jennifer Welch, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Jasmine Crockett, whether it's AOC, I'd like to sit down with these people at lunch. And what I'd really like to do, to be honest with you, is take out the political discussion. We don't need to argue about the politics. Let's try to make, Jasmine Crockett human. Let's try to make actress Jennifer Welch human. Let's try to make AOC human. Even though I disagree with them absolutely on politics, big time. I don't see the value in the division. If you could learn a little bit about Jennifer, if you could learn a little bit about Jasmine, if you could learn a little bit about Sam Bushman, or, some of these people, you might find that, we completely disagree on politics, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree agreeably. We can agree to disagree agreeably. And we can say, you know what? I don't agree with, Jennifer on this. I don't agree with Jasmine on that. But, they're nice people. I see that they've got families, or they've got hobbies, or they've got interests, or they excel at something. They're a great painter or a great musician or a poet or a writer or they spend time with their family. They love the outdoors and to play games, or that's some of mine, that I homeschool my children, that I love outdoors. I love to play games. I'm a foodie. I love different foods. I love different ethnic foods. And, Jennifer, I know you think that I'm a triple trumper, but I'm not. And how do I navigate that? But we can create a human face to these people, right? And really help them know what's going on. All right. Do you know what a pocket rescission is? I did a video on it. Here it is. Do you know what a pocket rescission is? Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman with another Liberty Roundtable Live short video brought to you by LovingLiberty.net. When you want incredible talk radio around the clock, download the iPhone app or the Android app, or simply listen online to LovingLiberty.net. All right, I got this from the Epoch Times. It's a very interesting twist about what Donald Trump's trying to do. Here's the idea. Pocket rescission is the term, and they're trying to use that to retract federal funding without congressional approval. President Donald Trump's administration, through the Office of Management and Budget, the director over there is named Russ Vought, they're considering using what they call a pocket rescission to retract federal funding without congressional approval. This method involves submitting a, quote, rescission proposal under the Impoundment Control Act just before the fiscal year ends on September 30th. Then Congress has 45 days to deal with the thing. If they don't, then the funds expire. Now, this approach, they say, is a legal way to manage funds. It is a good policy, and I think it's very smart for Donald Trump to do. However, even though I think it's necessary, because we don't want money that's just there because it's there, that could easily be not used, sitting there and being wasted or spent needlessly. So I support the president in reining in these rogue expenditures. When it comes to bypassing Congress, I'm a little hesitant because we need checks and balances, and Congress is responsible for the budget, primarily the House of Representatives. And so I would really encourage President Trump to use this pocket rescission to set a standard. We're not going to let just funds hang out there and be used whenever, wherever. That's not happening. But in the meantime, Congress, you need to be very careful not to put together these big omnibus, pardon the pun, big, beautiful bills in the first place. If you would vote on legislation piecemeal, one issue, one-page legislation, straight up or down votes on single issue, then not only can we know where our representatives stand, but then you won't have a bunch of money hanging out left over that the president needs to try to use a pocket rescission on. So do I applaud Trump for coming up with this unique approach? Yes. Is it a legal and appropriate solution? Given modern times, yes. But is it appropriate constitutionally? No. The Constitution says Congress should control the budget. The problem is they're derelict in their duty, and the president's trying to rein them in. God bless him for his efforts, but let's demand accountability with checks and balances in the greatest system ever devised by man. Why is it the greatest system? Because it uses checks and balances. It makes sure no one gets too powerful. By the way, the principles in the United States Constitution come straight out of the Bible. Did you know that? I'm just saying. Our founders were very Christian, and they wanted government to be subservient to the people, and then the people to serve God. I'm Sam Bushman. That's another Liberty Roundtable Live short video. God save our republic.
Abby Johnson was once director of a Planned Parenthood clinic in Bryan, Texas. After a moral crisis, she quit, and now she campaigns against what she once endorsed.
They implement abortion quotas in all of their clinics.
What do you mean quotas?
You have to perform a certain number of abortions every month. One of the reasons that I left...
Are they explicit about that?
Yes. It's in your budget, right there on the line item. One of the reasons I left Planned Parenthood was because in a budget meeting I was told to double that abortion quota. And for me, as someone who had spoken to the media and had said, you know, we're about reducing the number of abortions, we're about, you know, prevention, all of these other services, I was shocked to hear this.
You actually worked at a Planned Parenthood, give us some sense of the relative number of abortions.
Okay, abortions, Planned Parenthood provides over 330,000 abortions a year. They are the largest single abortion provider in our country.
Introducing Managed IT Services from NPI. We offer top-notch data backup and recovery, email spam protection, and network security tailored to your needs and budget. With 20-plus years of experience in the medical field, our HIPAA-certified consultants know what it takes to protect sensitive information. Don't settle for less. Give us a call at 801-706-6980 and experience the difference with Managed IT Services. Remember, your IT support should be fast, efficient, and reliable.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
With you live, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Bushman on your radio. So that video kind of breaks down, you know, what a pocket rescission is. I think it's necessary. I just don't like the president, you know, dealing with the budget when Congress is gone. This pocket rescission is based on these guys being gone and not available. I'd rather see Congress stand up and do what's right. And I'm really disappointed in Congress for not following Trump's lead on a lot of these budget cutting focus items that Trump's been working on. Elon Musk helped with it. The reason he's now out is because he just got offended going, we had all these cuts in place and now you're going to spend. Elon Musk is right on that. Anyway, I got another video that I want to play too. It's called I Would Like to Bring to Everyone's Attention an AI Reality Check. It's a short video that I do, and it's available at libertyroundtable.com. Here's this video. I would like to bring to everyone's attention an AI reality check. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman with another Liberty Roundtable Live short video brought to you by networkprovidersinc.com. You've got a partner in IT, whether it's security, help desk, strategic solutions, and more. Think networkprovidersinc.com. All right, I want to talk a little bit about AI because I think people need a reality check, a grounding, if you will. Some people think AI is nothing and they completely ignore it. In my humble opinion, a huge mistake. The second thing people do is they say, well, we're going to take AI to the roof. This is the solution. This is the future. And they go crazy whole hog on AI. Both extremes are a mistake. What you need to do when it comes to AI is understand this. It will be a technical revolution, like the yesteryear industrial revolution. It will have far-reaching ramifications, but those who say the sky is falling and everybody's going to lose their job are wrong. Those who say there's nothing to it, they're wrong. Those who say there's a lot to it and it will change society big time, over time, they're absolutely right. What's the key for you as a small to medium business? I believe the key is to embrace AI and understand that it'll make average people good, but it'll make great people even greater. Keep the best employees. Use AI to maximize their output, to decrease time suck details that waste their time. Use their time more effectively. Learn to use assistants along with AI to get the most out of your top people. But the most important thing about AI that you need to understand is this. The whole market is shifting literally daily. Don't spend a ton of money on AI. You'll find out that you're just paying for overlapping AI services. Start by using a general AI chatbot, such as ChatGPT. Pay the $20 a month. Use it. Then look into vertical market AI solutions based on applications that you need and can use AI for. And determine by testing if the AI feature you're paying for is worth the money. Or with a little cut and paste, could you do most of it with ChatGPT anyway, saving you lots of money? The key is to embrace AI, to not get too far ahead of the discussion, though, and fall into the hype and spend a lot of money. Start by having use case scenarios for each of your employees. Have them give you use cases and say, what would you use AI for? What would you like it to do? How would you like it to behave? Because I'm convinced a lot of the killer use case ideas people have aren't going to turn out so well. But other issues that they didn't realize AI would be incredible at are going to sing like you wouldn't believe. So be patient as the landscape evolves. Make sure you stay up on AI, but don't spend too much money on the bleeding edge. Hang back a little bit, see where the market goes, and follow it with specific use cases that can benefit your business. Save a lot of money, increase output for everybody, and you will be a company to reckon with going forward in the new AI world we find ourselves in. I'm Sam Bushman, and that's another Liberty Roundtable Live short video. God save our republic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. And you say, Sam, why are you all of a sudden talking about all these technical stuff this hour? You know, you bring up this AI reality check, you bring up this email stuff. You know, I don't know if you guys understand, but I'm an IT consultant for a living. I do all kinds of computer IT stuff. Run servers, implement AI solutions, solve problems. You know, I do a lot with broadcasting as well, and a lot with web development, and a lot, you know, I'm an IT professional for a living. The reason that I bring this up is because I do another talk show that many of you may not know about. I'm on the air 5 days a week, often 6. Sometimes on Saturdays it's best of. Sometimes I'm live 6 days a week for the political show. That's Liberty Roundtable, as you all know. But I also do another radio program called Tech Watch Radio. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. If you go to npitechguys.com, NPI stands for Network Providers, Inc. That's a company that I work for. And npitechguys.com. And you can click a button and see the news of the day on that website. But you can also see the incredible broadcast that we do. It's a podcast. And we do it on the radio on Saturday mornings. It's an hour-long show. It's actually 2 half hours. And then we take 1 half hour and we put it up on the podcast. Then midweek, about Wednesday, coming up tomorrow, we release the second half because we do the show in 2 separate halves. So they're 2 separate podcasts, but they turn out to be one radio show. Anyway, I'm just saying that you can check out some of my videos regarding tech as well as politics at libertyroundtable.com. You can check out the podcast, npitechguys.com. 2 other issues I want to get to before the end of the hour. Both of them we've kind of hinted at and talked about a little bit before, but they're worth kind of revisiting. Cold War 2.0 heats up. Ron Paul writes an incredible column about this, and good on him for it. But the second article headline that I have relates there too. I'm afraid we're on the cusp of War 2.0 also. I don't want a Cold War 2.0. I don't want a hot war. I don't want any war. I want peace. Trump says he wants peace as well, but what he's doing kind of makes me wonder. So Trump is supposed to meet in 3 days on the 15th, I think, with Vladimir Putin on a peace deal for Ukraine. Well, strangely, the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, is not even invited. Well, maybe he is. We don't know. They planned the meeting with Trump and Putin. But now the headline says, report, White House considering inviting Zelensky to the Alaska summit. Trump early announced in August 15 meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. WorldNet Daily with the piece. And I look at this and I just go, okay, wait a minute. We're literally thinking about possibly having an event to hammer out a peace deal. And Trump's there and the other side of the war is not there. To me, isn't this a meeting between Putin and Zelensky? And maybe you invite Donald Trump or a third party there. Rather than move to lawsuits and war and whatever else, might you step back and have a mediation? And if Trump's known as the art of the deal guy, maybe he can be the chief mediator in the middle there, helping both sides see solutions. But this idea that Trump's going to meet with Putin while he's arming the Ukraine is just a disastrous meddling in all affairs. President Trump, you've got to stop this. Don't meddle in international affairs. Keep your nose clean. Stay out of it. Have a humble foreign policy like George Washington and Ron Paul calls for. Follow the Republican leadership idea, which is, you know what, we want less war. We want to have peace. Don't think you're going to get peace through war. Don't back the military-industrial complex. Don't back the campaign of war hawks that want to whisper in your ear, you know, we got to take the fight to them over there so they don't come over here, and you follow all this rhetoric. Turn to God and trust him. Advocate for peace. Encourage Zelensky and Putin to sit down at the table and offer your services, and then stay out of it. You can be involved, but at the invitation of some of these people. If you create a meeting with Putin while you're funding Zelensky, how does that look on the international stage? Looks like you're a big old bully. Looks like you're kind of thinking you're more important than you are. You know, you're violating the sovereignty of these nations. And when you meddle in their affairs, there's anger and hatred and frustration that it boils over. The CIA documented his blowback. Ron Paul brought it up at the debates and got mocked by Giuliani, only to school Giuliani at the end. And Ron Paul was right and Giuliani was wrong. Trump, take a page out of that playbook. Take a page out of the General George Washington's playbook that we need a humble foreign policy. By all means, Zelensky should be at that meeting. If your goal is to create peace, Putin and Zelensky are the ones that can make peace happen. Trump can be an advisor. Trump can be an invited-in confidant. Trump can be a strategic solution, idea provider. He can help with the art of the deal. I'm not saying that Trump can't be there. I'm just saying you got to set it up to where you're invited by these people and welcome. If you do it differently, you're just falling in the provocateur camp. You're breaching the sovereignty of other nations. You're angering people. You're frustrating people. I plead with you and pray, Trump, President Donald J. Trump, that you will truly seek peace. I don't want you to be a wartime president. I want you to be the greatest peace hero this nation's ever known. And I want you to lead the country by example, not just talk, but real precept and action, unified, congruent, where we're comfortable and we know what's going on. All right, thanks for listening. I'm Sam Bushman. Check out the Loving Liberty Radio Network, lovingliberty.net. You can listen online, or you can download their iPhone or Android apps. Listen to your heart's content. It's absolutely free. Incredible talk radio around the clock. I'm Sam Bushman. This is Liberty Roundtable Live. God save the Republic of the United States of America.